Hi beauties, it's Piersanti with Beauty and the Stamper, and we are going to make another handmade card today. I'm super excited about this one because we are going to be using the silhouette scenes. So if you are not already a stamping subscriber, make sure you click the little subscribe button right there so that you won't miss any of my stamping videos. I also do all kinds of other videos, but today we're focusing on stamping. So I'm going to use the silhouette scenes here, using this little couple here that looks like they're standing out in the rain. And I didn't really see any of these that I liked because I am doing an anniversary card. Could also be used as a wedding card. So I looked through my stamp sets and I found this piece of cake stamp set with Mr. and Mrs. written right there, and I just thought that would be perfect. So let's go ahead and let me show you what we're going to be using. I've got some Whisper White that's cut at 4 by 5 1/4. I have some Basic Black that is cut at 1/8 of an inch larger. So we've got 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then we've got our base, which is in Coastal Cabana. I took an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet, cut it right in half at 5 1/2, and then scored at 4 1/4. And then I'm just going to take my bone tool and burnish that down and get a nice flat surface for the base. So we've got everything ready to go, and let's go ahead and start our embossing. So in order to do embossing, you are going to need embossing powder, some Versamark, and your heat tool. This is all you need. We are going to take our stamp that we're going to be using, which is that couple again. And if you need to re-ink it, there is also some re-inker here. I've already done that, and you just put a little bit on there. So let's ink this up really well. And it's, I say ink, but it's actually like this just type of gooey that stays on and stays wet for a while. So it allows you to get that powder right on there. So we are going to take our Whisper White and we're going to line this up right where we'd like it. I'd say right about there. Stamp it down like you would a normal stamp. And then it's going to kind of give you a watermark. Not sure if you could see that or not, but I could see it from where I'm at. And then we're going to take our embossing powder. And even though you cannot see it, you know what I didn't do? We'll see how this turns out. I didn't use my embossing buddy. So we're going to put this right on here. Now the embossing buddy, let me at least show you because I have it here. It worked out okay. I'm going to put a little bit more. Just see if we can get some more to stick on there. But the embossing buddy is this little, just this little pack that has a little bag in it that you rub across your paper, and that way the embossing powder doesn't stick. So I'm not having much of a problem right now. It doesn't look like we've had much that sticks. If you do have some that sticks, even after you've used your embossing buddy, just go through with a little fine brush, and that will get any of those right off. So there we go. Now I used this in like one of these little to-go containers. They're like 3 for $1 at the Dollar Tree, and then I just keep a plastic spoon in there so I can just dump that right back in there and none is lost. So I'm going to get rid of any embossing powder that may have fallen off by the wayside. And let's go ahead and get that heat tool started. I'm going to show you a little bit so you can see how it turns, and you can see that it's got a nice little powder, but watch when it turns. It's so cool. This is what made me want to start stamping in the first place, is watching somebody do this at a fair and watching it turn. I often think, I wonder if that was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So you just wait for that to get heated up, and you will start to see, can you see that? See their feet are kind of turning. And you just run this all across there. And you want to make sure the whole thing gets all heated up, but not too, you don't want to leave that for too long because it will scorch. But can you see that turning? So cool. And just go all the way through. I'm going to put it down because it will hurt your fingers after a little bit. And just make sure that whole thing is all done. I'm pretty sure this is good. Again, you don't want it to start bubbling or anything like that. So that is it. Looks like we are good to go. Looks like it's all done. So nice. And now what we want to do is color in some of our paper here. And you can do that in different ways. I'm going to take just this little smoky slate here, and I'm going to give them like a walkway to be standing on. Now, it does always go a little bit past, right? We're just going to put that right in here, and we're just going to give them some ground to stand on. And I'm going to even go a little bit higher because they're not standing right at the edge of the street. They might be standing in the middle of the street. You just go right across that embossing, and it's not going to take any color at all. Do you know you can do that with some white as well? So we gave them a little bit of a we gave them a little bit of I cannot think of the word. Pavement. How about that? A little bit of road. So I'm now going to take a piece of sponge and just cut off a little bit because I want to give them sky, but I want to show you different ways that you can cover this. So you could use your Seaside Spray Stampin' Blends like I did for this pavement here, or you can use your ink. And you can do it different ways. I'm just going to take this guy and go right, dipping it right in there and inking up my sponge. And then just go off the page here and kind of give them some sky as well. Again, going right over what's going on here. So we've got that, and you don't need to do a whole lot, and I will show you why. You could just use this if you want, but I want it to look like it's raining because, I mean, they have the umbrella, right? So we've got that, and I mean, you could just do the whole thing and be done, but I wanted to use the Pigment Sprinkles. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the Pigment Sprinkles and just open that little lid there. And we're going to kind of go over this Pigment Sprinkles here. Just putting a few down. Right? It doesn't have to be a lot. And I'll show you why. And then I'm just going to give some green as well for a little bit of color. Now check this out. Oh, that's a lot. It's not green. But the color here is Granny Apple Green. This one was Bermuda Bay. And now we're going to put some Mango Melody here. And you can mix your colors together if you want, but I'm going to go right along where that road is. So I've got that. Let's put those right away. And then I'm going to get out my aqua painter. And we're going to take that aqua painter and very quickly, I'm just going to get out this sponge, but because I cut it, I don't really keep all my sponges. But I'm going to pour a little so the water starts to come out. And then I'm just going to take and put some drips on here. So I'm going to, see that? I'm just, right where the ink is. Did you see it turn green? Right where the ink is. Put some marks here and there. And then I'll show you the reason why I'm putting it in the spots with the ink. Now I can go in, dip it in that spot with the ink, and kind of add some little bits of drops there. Actually touching the ink and placing it. But I wanted some of it to go in spots. Really getting that ink in here. So when I dip it in the ink itself, I'm coloring that. You see what I'm doing there? Getting some ink. Or pigment, I guess, is what it would be. And you can make little teeny tiny droplets as well. So then I'm going to switch colors, and I'm starting with the lighter color first. And now I'm going into that blue, and I'm going to pick up some of that Bermuda and put some color down as well. And put some little bits. There you go. And don't worry about there we go. So I'm going to get that color off, and I'm just using that same sponge. Just squeeze that water off, and now you've got just clear again. So those are the aqua painters. Now I still have some pigment on there, and I just take a little baby wipe, and I'm going to lay it right on here. And pick up some of that pigment. I'm going to do it the other way as well. Any of the extra water is going to come off. You will get messy. So there we go, and it doesn't look like much right now, but I'm getting rid of all that pigment. Okay, then you can take your heat tool and heat that all up. Stay away from this part right here for the most part, and it'll take a little while. And you can go on the back and do that as well, and it'll start to dry up. And you could just keep it out and let it dry. And then once it's dry and you want to flatten it out a bit, just take your wood block and put it right over there. And if you have a second wood block, you could just take that and put it right over there, and it'll be nice and flat. So it could be a little bit of a process. And then once that is all dry, you're going to take it, put your snail adhesive all along the back, and then you're going to put it onto your black piece, and this is what you have. So then you're going to take your black piece and we're going to put that onto our Coastal Cabana piece. So let's get that on there. And if you have any issues with any type of wrinkling or whatever, just put enough tape that when you push it down, it'll hold it down nicely. And we're going to just give this a little bit of a border as well. If it is cut properly, you can line up these borders all the same, and then when you put it down, you'll have a nice little border all the way around. So we've got that little card there. Now I wanted to add a little bit that says Mr. and Mrs. So I took that and I'm taking it in. I have an extra piece of black there. We're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to take our Versamark, and I'm going to tell you, Stampin' Up! Has great embossing powder. It's very fine. So we're just going to pop this guy right on here, and it is on black. So I forgot to emboss. So silly. This time I'm going to take the silver. And let me tell you, if you were making a bunch of these cards, once you have the embossing powder on there, you can set it aside. Okay, there we go. So that's what I mean. You can just set it aside. Don't worry about it. When I do my Christmas cards, I have lines of Merry Christmas, and it hasn't been heat embossed yet. Then you're going to take your embossing tool. We're going to do the same thing, the heat tool. But that fine powder really lets you see those words. And this is a silver, so for a 25th wedding anniversary. I'm going to have to do one for my parents. This year is 50 years for them. But look at that change. Isn't that so cool? Super cool. So now we've got this Mr. and Mrs. all done here. We're going to take the little paper snips here and we're going to cut it at an angle. And then we're going to take some of our Stampin' Dimensionals. I have a couple left on here. So I'm going to put those right here. But exactly 2 left. So those will fit nicely. And we're just going to put that right here. And there you go. How cute is that? Look at them standing in the rain, but you see none of it got picked up where the embossing was. So I hope you liked this. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. We are still having some people sign up for the class. If you wanted to get your class, you just need to buy the Free as a Bird stamp set, or you can place a $50 order with me and you will get my live online class for free. And you'll want to go to jeanpiersanti.stampinup.net and then make sure you put in your host code if you are spending less than $150. Use this host code to get your free class and help with our Hostess. So the more that we get in here, the more I am able to do some nice giveaways in our class. And I'll tell you what, these people, every single person who signs up in our class has walked away with some type of giveaway, if not 2 or 3 prizes. So I thought that was really cool. So, all right, beauties, I hope you again like this. I am so needing some thumbs ups, and it really helps my channel. And that's all I'm going to say. All right, beauties, have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.